Alright, so I have the 260 head on the bench here. Been itching to play around with this. It's a little cold for working in the garage tonight, so I think we'll do a little bit of porting on this, and then we'll do some flow testing and see what kind of numbers we can pick up. I'm not going to go too crazy. Just going to try to clean up the bowls and try to work on the short turn, and then I'll probably narrow down the guide some, and maybe a little bit on the inlet side of the port. So I'll open up the pinch a little bit. I'll start with the bowl anyways and see how it goes, and I'll decide how far I want to go with the rest of the port. And then on the exhaust port, we'll probably do the same. So let's get started. Alright, I think I got the short turn where I want it there. See, it's rounded off nicely. I probably still spent some more time on it, but we're just doing a quick test here today. So, and this is basically what we were starting with here. Didn't go too crazy on it. Just cleaned up the ridge around the bowl. Kind of narrowed the guide a little bit. It's pretty tight to get in there, so I didn't do too much. So we'll see what that does. If it picks up pretty good, then maybe we'll continue on with it if you guys want to see some more of that. So next I'll move on to the exhaust. Alright, so on the exhaust port, I'm just going to clean up the bowl, maybe shape the guide a little bit. Then I will move on to the outlet of the exhaust port here. I'll work on removing this cast boss, which is for air tubes. Some also call it a EGR bump, I believe. It's just a nice protrusion in the port, so we will grind that out of there as well. Alright, see if I can show you guys the short turn on here, what I did with it. Basically just rounded off the short turn some. Still got a little bit of cleanup there to do, but it's much nicer than what they start out as. See all the sharp edges on the port there. So I got the bump all ground out of there. Looks much better now. See the work we did on the guide. Now we will test it out and see what happens. So here's the results. This is the before. And here's the after. We didn't pick up a whole lot. I thought it would have been a little bit better, but it's not a very good port to start with. I'm sure there's a little bit more left in them, but for what time it takes to port these, I'm not a fan of porting cast iron. I'd rather do the aluminum. I think a lot of people are the same way. So if you got some extra time on your hands, you don't know what to do with yourself, you can spend time porting these heads. It's probably not the best use of time, but might be a good idea if you had like a numbers matching restoration you're trying to do. You just want a little bit more power out of your little 260. But if you're trying to get max power of 260, you're probably best to start with a bigger engine or a different cylinder head, at least anyways. It's a fun little project. I know there's probably more left in it with like the valve job. I still want to try to narrow the guide down on the intake side there some. I was really hoping to get that a little narrower. I think opening up the intake port, making it a little bit larger all the way through would help as well. We'll note that it took about 30 to 40 minutes on each port. The exhaust was probably a little bit less, so I was able to get in there a little easier. And the intake side, with the cleaning up the short turn, took a little bit longer than I was hoping. If you want to see some more cylinder head work in the future, let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.